Afternoon, folks. I think my mic is good. Let me know if it's not. Okay, so we're going to run through the day here. What is it? 12:01, October 19th, Thursday, midday review. Let's see what the day is doing. Thanks, JD. I just got to get on the right monitor here. Sorry, all my monitors are different now. That's the one. Okay. The oil room. We nailed oil hard. This was awesome. Where is that? There it is. So here's a shot of the oil room, and the nice thing about this is it's got you know, the entry amounts and stuff, but we nailed that bottom just perfect thanks to ABDE. So that's going well, our oil trade. I'm a little short gold right now. That's a swing. It's not an intraday play like oil. So my oil trade's a tight time frame. My gold is a days or a week or two, depending on what happens. But I'm in that for a short. Then we have, here's the earnings coming up. You can look through those on my Twitter feed. We also have this. So this is XBTUSD. Our Bitcoin trading has been awesome. There was a recent low down in here. And on the way down, I was buying all the way. You can see my contract buying. So it's the white. So I was buying all the way down, and then I was releasing. You can see the smaller releases up in the reds. So I did that all the way down, actually. I bought at the bottom of each, released a little bit, bought at the bottom of each, released a little bit. By the time I got to the bottom, I was even, but I had accumulated. So huge win on the way down. And now since, I've just been releasing all the way up. And of course, doing that live in our room. I did do a small buy here, one small buy as it was going up. This is the next chart on the extension up. So that's been awesome. So gold, oil, Bitcoin, we covered. Oil's coming off a bit now. I'm holding that position though. This is what Bitcoin looks like on a wider frame chart as soon as it comes up. Got a lot going on this computer. Soon I will get this one as a gaming computer also. I keep saying it, but we're switching them out one at a time. I had to get my trading platform one done first. Dang it. Right up until the time that I decided I was going to put that chart up. Okay, well, let's start with IMMY. So this is a Momo on the day. I didn't get in it. I would suspect it's probably a fairly decent short now. But I haven't done anything with it either way. So that's IMMY. We'll just give the computer a minute here to catch up. QURE was my personal pick for the day that I did not execute on. So this is getting to be a fairly regular thing for me, where I'm picking these morning momos and I'm not executing them, and they're doing well. It seems that $10 to $15, well, even $10 to $20 range morning momentum gets its second or third leg. So it's too bad I didn't. QURE. I don't have any swing intentions with it, so I won't look at the daily. But yeah, that's happening regular, so I got to pay attention to that. ADHD was another one I was watching this morning. Didn't execute on it, and I'm fine with that. That was not an easy one to trade. VERI, of course, I've been in and out of over time. I did miss my execution at the 50 here, so I'm just waiting for this move between the 50 and the 100 to complete. And then based on that completion and how it looks after that, I'll decide what to do. But I do like the way it day trades. So that is, yeah, ADHD, crazy symbol. VERI. OSTK, so this was my pick from yesterday. I'm looking for an entry. The action today isn't the best, but the markets are off with the 30th anniversary of Black Monday, which, by the way, I not only lived through, but traded through. I don't know, like, it's not, it hasn't come off heavy. In fact, it's structurally totally in play, so I'm going to leave it on my board. SPPI is off 3%. That's my play from yesterday. I think my buy is in around the high 19s. It has recovered. I think it was down 5 or 6% at one point. It's a super bullish chart on the daily, and I kind of feel bad because, of course, I'm responsible for some things to be right. I won't get too specific there, but I was really confident in this one. So anyway, I haven't sold it. It's set up on the daily, so, and being that the day is the way it is, I'm holding. Sorry, my allergies again. Facebook off a little bit. Totally convinced it's going to run into earnings. So I'm now, for perspective, I'm holding maybe, I'd have to check, 25% of the original entry. I basically exited at the top, and so that's been a decent little snipe that, you know, is turning into a swing on 25% of the position. AAOI, I still hold. It's off just a little bit, but it's getting divergent, and that stock RSI on the daily is starting to pinch. So if you're short AAOI, I would probably consider, and actually it's gotten right down to my target that I've been talking about on videos the last number of days. So I would probably consider your short position. I'm thinking about adding into it here very soon, doubling or tripling down. Snap, SNAP, I'm out 95%. It was a decent little trade, nothing serious. The little bits that I do have, they're just little bits, and it was kind of forced little bits. It's hard to explain, but I had a bit of a surprise on my trading platform, and so I couldn't trade this specific account that is still holding this one, and that's the little bit that I have left. Anyway, it's since been sorted out, or we're sorting out that little blip, and so I'm not too sure how I'm going to handle this one. Yeah, as far as the little bit that's left. Shop, I'm in this to win it, and it's really close to my buy. I think I'm in the 98s somewhere, maybe mid to high 98s, I'm not sure. But that 100 has been proven out to be resistance, but that MACD, you see that MACD. So shop and AAOI, I'm going to double or triple down on as soon as they confirm their move here. Snap, I just have little bits in. I don't have real confidence in it. Facebook, I have about 25% left in it, and SPPI, I'm fully in it. It's not a big play, but big enough that it would affect the accounts. I think it was around 300 shares on the small and the big accounts. So, you know, if I'm down a couple bucks, it's $600, and you know that's $600. And then OSTK, I got to make a decision on. So that's what I'm doing there. XBTUSD Bitcoin. I explained how I bought down and ended up flat on the way down and accumulated. I've been selling all the way up at the highs. Actually, I've nailed most of these little highs as it was coming up, and I'm still holding of that position. I would say around 70%. So I've sold off 25-30% through this up move, and I'm looking for more. It might come off though for a little bit. We'll see. Might drop down into here and then go again. But I'm very bullish on Bitcoin. So that's what I'm doing. I dealt with the announcements. Just going to take a really quick look here on the scanners. I've been promising and promising and promising to get these swings out, get the setups out, get the videos out, and I just can't explain how sorry I am that I haven't. And I won't promise again other than to say I'm doing it tonight, and it will be done. Last night I went for a midnight swim in between my work sessions as a break. I went for a dive, deep dive actually, 60 feet at midnight. And then I got back and for some reason just boom, I was out, like out. I couldn't, like nothing left. Oil has come right off. It's back at support. We'll see how it does here. If it loses its critical algorithm model support, I'll have to cut that position flat. Maybe even for a tiny loss. Okay, so let's take a look at we're looking at a possible Bitcoin entry right now, sorry. It's kind of at a funky place on the intraday. It's got the 200 MA, and in this channel, it's kind of mid-channel, so it makes the decision tough to add and then scalp. And then on the actual algorithm models, it's kind of a decision point too. So it's not, the risk reward isn't really great right here. Yeah, I'm thinking intraday scalping. But it is starting to move here. This is a delayed chart, by the way. I think it's delayed by 30 seconds or so. So the one that's on my other monitor is live. I'm just watching it test all this. So you can see now it's popping here. Very interesting. Well, I'll keep one eye on it while I go through these charts here. If anybody has any charts they want to look at or share with the team, go ahead and put them in. Yeah, every crash I've done well. Very well. Now, I was really young then. I was in business when I was 17. I was in the markets trading in the markets by the time I was 18, well, 19. And then I was full-time in the markets by the time I was 21. By the time I was 21, I'd already had, I think, up to maybe 8 or 9, 10 businesses. I got into business development. Well, in those days, that's what it was called. Nowadays, they call them, incubators. We didn't call them incubators back in those days. Okay, so Bitcoin. Thinking about hitting this pretty hard here. Oh, it's getting going. Oh, we're jamming it hard. Shoot. Really hard. Just thinking intraday scalping here. Big volume came in. The chart that's on your screen is delayed. Yeah, they're running it. Well, I'm long anyway, fairly large. I was thinking of an extra, boom time here. It's testing an MA right now, so it might just relax long enough for me to get in. The thing about this XBTUSD, I trade both. I trade, longer kind of swinging ebb and flow with the way it trades. And then I have these quick in and outs, and the quick in and outs are different than the normal markets because you can get up to 100 times leverage in them. So you can, it's more like teleporting than it is like hitting a gas pedal. It's the best way that I can explain trading XBTUSD on the intraday. But you're trading against machines when you're trading really tight. So you have to be really cautious about knowing where you are with the machines, knowing what they're, going to be doing if X happens or Y happens. So I'm going to leave that alone for now because it's settled off at those MAs. It should rest. In fact, I thought it would rest down in this next channel here and then get going again for its next run. So we'll see if that actually plays out. Okay, so back to regular programming here. I think what I'll do is just free up some space, get Bitcoin off there. AAOI, I know that I'm, see these, I'll get Facebook off there. These, I almost have to action these very soon. SPPI, Snap, AAOI, and Shop. I might action all of them this afternoon yet. And OSTK. So I'll leave all 5 of those up. Let's bring up a new chart quick. Where is it? Profile settings. What? Ideas published. Boy, oh boy. OCN. So OCN is that one from yesterday that JD brought into the room. We may as well bring that one up first. Just looking at the scanners here real quick, sorry. OCN, look at that, JD, way to go. So up 3.56%. Just beauty, just a beauty. How's that? Beauty call. You're right up against resistance, but it's a beauty. It's that 20 going through the 200. That's your key on this one to get through that resistance. So I'm going to add that alert. I already have price action alert. That's OCN. That one is just ideally set up. And if you're wondering what the setup is that we're looking at there, just go into our YouTube channel and just look for how we assess that type of a setup. Yeah, and its earnings are coming up in 6 days, so very likely going to run here. Probability is definitely to the bull side. Okay, PRAN. I don't know anything about PRAN. I can't remember anyway. I don't know why it spiked. Let's take a look at the chart. So they got some kind of a research collaboration deal. It trades like crap. Yeah, just based on the chart, I personally wouldn't get in it, but you know, who knows, right? You'd have to make your own decision on the fundamentals. SILC is a breakout from a trending stock. Let's see where your resistance lies, right where it is. So it's sitting at its recent highs there, not recent highs, but last major high. Here's your weekly chart on it. Now, caution to shorts in this scenario, because this actual chart setup is very, very difficult to beat on the short side. What you've got here, now keep in mind the last time the same scenario played out here and here, it came off fairly soon after. But normally what will happen is in this scenario where you just have a trending stock and all it does is really trend, and it gets up like that, and then it comes back down to the 200 area and then gets back up. In other words, it's just trending like this. Eventually it just breaks out and basically never comes back to earth. I mean, it stops. They always stop, but the point is, where is that going to stop? So it's the way I was trained. This is the type of stock you would never short. On the long side, you know, if you're willing to watch it and work through its breakout, it might be something you want to get involved in. AGSE, you can tell this is a different scenario, opposite scenario. So this is almost one that you would short every time. You see the different trajectory in the charts. Pretty simple when you start, you know, when you actually just think about it and get out on the weekly like that. On the daily, it got a pop here, but it never holds. And, you know, your opportunity for success on a short, you know, probabilities are on the short side always. MTSL, don't know anything about. Looks like it's very thinly traded. We're just going to skip over this one, I'm sure. Yeah. ADBE. So I've charted this one a number of times in my past. I don't think in recent, but in the past. The beautiful part about this is one of those companies that is, you know, from here to singularity in my thinking. It makes that list. The downside is that it's so extended over the 200 that, you know, eventually it's going to meet the 200 again. One day it will. So would I be here now? Long? It's, you know, if you're willing to take some pain, I guess, you know, at $20. Because by the time it comes back to the 200, it's, you know, well, you might take a $12 to $20 hit, that pain. So you might have to live through 10%. It's hard to say. But I would imagine it's coming back to earth. You know, it would be like in here, you know, it broke out here, gapped up. The 200 slowly came up and it met it here, you know, so it met it at 97.40. It was at 107, you know, so that's an easy 12%. That's kind of how these things typically work. HCC, Warrior Met Coal. Don't know anything about the fundamentals of the company. I can tell you this is an example of one of those charts that I would never short, but it just hasn't got the history to work with, right? So there's not a lot I can tell you about that one. CRBP has its 200. It was a trending stock, got under the 200. Typically these will bounce at this point once they're under 200 at what's called natural support, which is basically what it did. It hasn't got the chart history, so this is another one that doesn't have the history to work with, and it's set up in the same kind of a formation. Advantage bulls is what I'm getting at. So opposite of RGSE. And so we've seen this a few times here in midday today already. So that's CRBP. So these, you know, you can play them. You just get down on your 5-minute and find the right entry and try and day trade through them. And then once you get your day trade on the right side, you can always try and swing it. INFI, INFI. It's been on our radar a number of times. It was through this pop here. And, you know, it hit natural resistance and came off. It's basically doing the same thing here. I'm really surprised actually that they're buying into it right now. Maybe news I don't know about or whatever, but TYME up over its 200, coming back to test its 200. It hasn't got the chart history and it hasn't got the trajectory, so I would call that advantage bears. GRVY, this one we've been watching and watching and watching. Here's an example of that chart, right? Your long-term chart gets going and it does this, you know, the horns. And this is an example of why you don't short this setup. Look at what happens. You just get wrecked. If you go to the long side, you bring it down on the 5-minute when it's coming out of the bowl. And if I was day trading full time, I would almost exclusively trade this type of setup. You just wait for it to come out of the bowl, get down in your 5-minute, find a really good entry on the daily, go in 1/10, 1/5, or whatever at a time, let it prove out, and continue through, and your returns are good because your risk reward is so high, and you can control your downside. In 2018, when I start day trading full time, I'll be in these all the time. Now I do have to harness that in the fact that we are making an absolute killing in crypto. And while that continues, I don't know how much of this I would be doing, just for, you know, complete honesty. BEDU, can't tell you any more than it's a trending newer issue that just doesn't look like it's ever coming back to earth. LBIX, one that we've been watching recently, it's just slowly coming off. Got a pop on natural support, very common scenario, and we'll see how that plays out. QD, second day of life, that's what it looks like. PPHM, because of today's anniversary of the market crash, we're not seeing the charts that we should be seeing, so that I wouldn't take much of any of this with any seriousness. This one, however, is structurally near perfect. So it's sitting right now on that gap entry. And it failed the complete move on the gap twice, but it did get a move twice. And they are about to go for a third. And those moves are about $1.50 on a $4 stock. So that's a fairly decent return. This is divergent activity rating here, that it lost the 200, now it's going again, bounced at natural support. It's pretty positive. It's got me wondering, so I'm going to alarm this one. It's definitely got me wondering. BLFS trading 652, up 6.5% today, 7%. I don't know their story, but this is the type of chart that I just will never trade. But if history serves, you know, you could just try and repeat the same, and it looks like it's going to. But it's just, you know, it's just not structurally reasonable to trade it. That's BLFS. NVR, trending stock, breaking out. Don't know anything about it. Never traded it. PPHM, no. NNI. It's quite a chart, isn't it? Wow. That trade is like a commodity that's never going to end. So there's the horns. Let's look at the weekly here. What kind of company is this? Technology. Very interesting. I know it, but I don't know it. I can't recall. Like, I haven't traded it. Like, I just don't know enough about it. Comment. ADOM. BEDU. So a bunch of junky, kind of quirky stuff in there. The ones that are off today. TRXC is off 11.92%. Yeah, there's really nothing. Oh, out of curiosity. I've been meaning to do this all day and I just forgot. StarBucks. Well, this is going to be interesting. It's over its 200 on the weekly. Its MACD is starting to cross up, and if there's going to be a turn on its earnings, it's going to be this round. When are the earnings? On the 2nd. The last two earnings haven't been great. Okay, so those are the charts for the day. Nothing really exciting. It's the anniversary of Black Monday, and that's the way it is. OCN is off of here now, but that's definitely one to watch. These other ones. So OSTK, I'm still going to snoop around for an entry. Today might be the day to do it. SPPI, dang it. It's holding up, and like I hate to cut for a loss on a fear day like today in the markets. I really hate to do that. But if it comes off much more, I might have to. And if it's off tomorrow, I'll have to. I won't have a choice. I was really expecting this thing to run. I know it gapped and all that, but I thought at least I'd get a little more into earnings. So, just not a good call, bad call. So if I do actually end up cutting on this, then I'm going to have to actually tell the world so that people know that I actually report losses. I don't think I'm getting out of this one, but you never know. You never know. Hope is not a trading plan, but it's the best I got on this one right now. It's the best I can do. Snap, I already talked about that. AOI and shop. AOI looking for a hammer down on a double triple, and shop looking for a hammer down on a double or triple. And watching Bitcoin very close right now. So that's it. Yeah, that's midday today. Real quick one. Tracy, markets are improving. Yeah, wouldn't that be nice, hey, to have a green close? That'd be sweet. I think things are going to be fine. I just, it's just my one play here. This was just not a good play. Was not a good call. SPPI. God. And what makes it really tough is I can't, in good faith, cut today because of the nature of the markets. Oh, it just, you know, goes back to that rule. If it goes against you, you just cut, right? You always re-enter. Dang it. Yeah, nice to see Trace. Corey Rock's on holidays or whatever this week, by the way, and a few others are. And the markets are crap-y looking. But I believe they're going to rip into earnings, rip right through earnings. So there's my, I wish I had more for you guys, but that's it for today. Kind of funky dunky. So I'm going to shut down the recorder and we'll call that midday. I'll be around this afternoon too.